Hi and welcome to another video of UiPath StudioX. So in this video, we will continue with the second exercise of Reboot Your Skill Program. The exercise is same, which is unicorn name generator, but the twist is that the input sheet is coming from the Google Workspace. So in the first exercise, what we did is we were reading the Excel file, which was saved locally, right? And then we were going to this particular application to find the unicorn name and then saving that unicorn name and sending it through the Outlook, right? The exercise is completely same, but this time the input is, or the Excel file is saved in your Google account as a Google spreadsheet. So you have to read the data from the Google spreadsheet. That data will go into the unicorn name application, which is this. And let me show you the sheet as well. So this is the Google sheet that we have to read, which has two columns, name and birthday month. Again, the name will go to this field and the birthday month will go to this field. And when we click on this get unicorn name, we will get the unicorn name of that person. Name we have to send through the email. So this is what the overall automation is. We have three applications here. One is Google spreadsheet from where the data is coming. The second is this web page where we have to feed the data and read the result from this particular area, which is going to the unicorn name. Once we read the data from the web page, we have to send that data through the mail. So these are the three steps of three applications we have to use. Now let's jump to UiPath StudioX. I've already created a project, which is a blank project. And so the first thing that we have to do is we have to connect with this web page, which is find unicorn name application, right? So for that, we will be using a resource called use application browser because we are going to connect with a web page. Now you can say indicate application to automate. So I'll simply click on this and I'll indicate the same tab. Make sure the same tab is opened and no other tab is highlighted at that time, right? So you can see this green area is coming. It means the UiPath StudioX is easily able to communicate with the web browser. If you find any error while indicating the application, a web application, make sure you check the browser extension. And where you can find the extension is where I can simply show you. This is the modules, extensions. If you go here, this is where your extension is. Make sure the developer mode is on and the extension is on. So you can check it out if you find any errors in that part, right? So once we have connected with the web page or we have opened the web page, right? The next thing that we want to do is we have to read the data from the Google spreadsheet. We do not have the activity to read the data from the spreadsheet or the Google Workspace by default. So for that, we'll have to import a package. To import a package, we have to click on this Manage Packages button. And now you can see these are the already installed packages, but we want to import or we want to include a new package. So I'll just click on all packages and say suit. Now you can see this is the package from UiPath, which is Google Workspace by UiPath, right? So it is not installed yet. So I'm getting the install button. Simply click on install and then click save. That's all you have to do. Now you can see UiPath G Suite activities are getting installed in UiPath StudioX. So you will get the relevant activities to communicate all your Google Workspace applications. Click on I accept. And now you can see more resources has been added, right? Use Google account, use Google Drive, use Google spreadsheet, right? So most of the Google Workspace resources are now available for you to use. So what we are going to use is use Google spreadsheet resource because we have to connect with Google spreadsheet now. I'll drag it inside the use browser activity. This is because first we want to open the application and then we want to read the data from the Google spreadsheet. And all the data that we will be reading is what we are going to type in the application. So all the further activities will be inside the use Google spreadsheet activity, right? So now it says, please select an account. So this is where we have to do the configuration first. So I'll say add new account and authentication type as default, press OK. And now it is asking me which Gmail account I want to use. So I'll choose the account I would like to use. And since I have the authentication, so I'll just enter the code. And press next. Select what UiPath G Suite can access, right? So these are the default things it is going to access, and then I've just also clicked on this one, and then I press continue. Receive verification code. You may now close the window. It means the authentication is successful. We can now close the window. If you go back to StudioX, you can see this account has been already taken. And use existing, this is what you have to keep as it is. Now spreadsheet file, which file do you want to use in your automation, right? So you can click on the browse for sheet and all your available sheets will be here. You can see these are the previous folders, right? And this is the sheet that I want to use. So press open. Now this unicorn name sheet is referred as spreadsheet in my automation. So wherever the spreadsheet name is coming, it simply means the unicorn name spreadsheet. This is just the reference that we'll be using now further. So now from the spreadsheet, we want to read a cell. So if you go to the G Sheets tab and expand it, right, you will get the read cell activity and drag it inside the use Google spreadsheet scope. You can see this spreadsheet and this is the same reference that we're using. So we want to read from this unicorn name, sheet number 1, and cell number is, if you go to plus, say text, and A2 cell is what we want to read, save, right? And the sheet number is same, sheet 1. There are no changes required. So whatever we are reading from sheet number 1, A2 cell, we will be saving it as a variable in the automation to use it later. So you can say create a variable and name it as simply name and press OK. So whatever the data that we'll be reading from the A2 cell is going to be saved in a temporary space or a variable called as name. Now the next thing is we want to type this name in the web page, right? Which is find unicorn name, this field, right? So for this, we have an activity called type into. So I'll be using that activity now, which is type into, and I'll drag it after the read cell. Make sure the sequencing is right. You can see it here. Inside the Google spreadsheet, we are reading, and then the same value that we just now read from the spreadsheet is what we are going to type now. Indicate in Chrome, click on this option. Okay. Let me open it here in my index file. Okay. Now type into, this is where you want to type. So this is your target, and this becomes your anchor because this is going to uniquely identify the element on the screen, and press confirm. Now, what do you want to type here is what you have to supply in this field, that is type this. So I'll click on plus button and say use variable, right? So what was the value that we saved is inside the name variable, right? Just now. So we'll be using the name variable, which is a text value. So that's what we have to give it in the type into activity. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to now read this particular value from B2 cell, right? From unicorn name spreadsheet. So again, we'll be using the same activity, read cell, going to activities tab. And if you go to the G sheets, you have read cell, bring it after the type into from the spreadsheet, sheet number 1. And this time cell number is B2 and press save. So B2 is the cell we are reading. Now again, save the value that you have just now read in a variable. So I'll say create variable and let's call it month and press OK. Now this value that we just now read from the spreadsheet will go in the drop down value of unicorn name from this, right? So I'll use an activity called select item. This activity is used whenever you want to choose anything from the drop down. So indicate in Chrome. So this is where the drop down is. This is your target. And again, this becomes your anchor to identify the element on the screen. Then press confirm. Now, what item do you want to select? Either you can simply choose it from all the values which were there in this drop-down. So StudioX already read it from the web page and has given to you, but you want to dynamically choose the month. You do not want to hard code it, because every time if you, for example, if you choose March, every time you run this automation, it will choose March value from the drop-down. But to make it dynamic, or to put the value which you read from the spreadsheet here, and the same value you want to choose from the dropdown, right? So make sure you mention the same value here. So the value is saved in a month variable. So I'll say plus use variable and month as text. So this is what we want to choose from the dropdown. Once you're done with this, next thing is we have to click on the get unicorn name button. So we'll be using a click activity. I'll write it after the select item. Indicate in Chrome, again the same thing. This is the button we want to click. And this is the target. Since it's a single button, we do not have any anchor. So I'll say confirm here. Done. We are doing a single left click. So now the next thing is we want to read the unicorn name that will be coming. For that, let me just manually choose the values. So this is what we are going to read next. So go to activities to read anything from the web page. Sorry, call it get text. So I'll keep it after the click activity. And now the value that we want to read is what we have to indicate. So indicate where the value will be coming. So this is where it's going to come. And this becomes your anchor, because this is something fixed in the application and it is not going to change. Then press confirm. Now, once you read this data from the application, again, you have to save it so that you can send it through the email. So say plus, create variable, and we call it as unicorn name. And say, okay. It's extremely short I've used, but it's not a good practice. You should be writing unicorn name or something meaningful. And now all the activities that we were supposed to perform using the spreadsheet, and the application is done. We got the unicorn name. Now we want to send this through the email. So for that, we have to connect with the Outlook first. So I'll use the resource called Use Desktop Outlook Web App and place it after the Use Browser Chrome, because once we are done with this, the next step or the last step is to send out the email. Now choose the account. This is the default account that I'm using, and the difference for this account will be the Outlook, right? So once we are connected with the Outlook account, we want to send the email. So if you go to the email section, here's the mail. So if you go to the mail section, right, we have the send email activity, and I'll drag it inside the Use Desktop Outlook Web. So this is the account that I'm going to use. The account is this, right, which is referenced at Outlook. So we are just using the reference name, not the complete name. To whom we have to send. So the address I'll put as mine. So this is the email address to whom we want to send. Let's say subject as, click on the plus button, then text, say my unicorn name. This one we did it from spreadsheet. So I'll just mention in the subject line and press save. Now in the body, we want to send the unicorn name, which we read from the application. So we will go to the text option, because the text that we are going to send is not the HTML or is not the Word document. So the body is simply a text. So click on the plus button and say text. I have it, the body saved somewhere. So let's write this. I just wanted to let you know that I changed my name to, what is the new name? Say plus, use the variable. What was the variable? I guess my UN. Correct. So the UN as text, we want to send this particular variable data in the form of text. So we will choose the text, and let's say, and press save. That's all. We are done with the automation. These are the steps that we're performing. We'll connect to the web page, which is find unicorn name. We will read the data from the spreadsheet using the read cell activity. Then the data that we're reading from the spreadsheet is what we're entering in the web application using the type into and the select item activity. We are clicking on a button, reading the data from the application then, and then whatever we are reading, we are sending it through the email, right? It's very straightforward. So let me run this automation now. For that, let me refresh the page and say run. It has started. It's entering the name, choosing the month, clicking on button, reading and sending out the email. You can see the last run was successful. And let's check if we have received the email. So this one is from the previous run. So we'll wait for the next one to arrive. Mistake that we did in our automation is, while sending out the email, we did not uncheck the save as draft. So that's why it will be in our drafts folder. So if I go to drafts, this is where it is actually pending and it's not been sent. So you can see the subject line is there. The value that we read has been replaced with the actual value, right? So yeah, this is we have not received the email because the button was not unchecked. Let me run it again. I've refreshed the page and see this undraft, say this draft should be unchecked, and then I run it again. We are getting the values and the run is successful. And let's check the outlook now. We got the email with the subject line that we mentioned and with the value that we read from the web page, right? So that's all about the second challenge of Reboot Your Skill Program. I'll be putting more videos of the next upcoming challenges. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.